Ma'am, is there something you want to share with us, like apart from the session or something about yourself or anything?
If you want me to introduce myself, then I can start that. We just have 2 minutes, I think, so I'll wait for 2 minutes and then I'll do.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, I think then I shall get started with the introduction and all. Then
Yes,
at 5 p.m. Yeah,
2 minutes. Yes. Then we
yeah.
can as it is because they are the expansion of my introduction. So I think.
Yeah. So I am Aditi Das, a contented member of Legal Law Forum. I wholeheartedly welcome you today in this session, ma'am. So moving on with the introduction of the forum, Legal Law Forum is a law forum based at Nagpur, Maharashtra. The purpose of the forum is to promote legal education and awareness among youngsters and to endeavor many educational activities, LLF Talks being one of them. So that's all about the introduction of the forum. Now moving on to your introduction, I'll introduce you, ma'am. Okay. So today we have with us Lieutenant Commander Bidisha Pandey, ma'am. She has served in the Indian Navy for a decade as a logistic officer. She led the Navy marching contingent twice on Rajpath as part of the Republic Day parade in 2014 and 2015 in New Delhi, and has also represented the Navy in the iconic transatlantic Cape Town to Rio de Janeiro Ocean Sailing Expedition 2017. On completion of her 10-year tenure in service, she will now be heading to University College London for higher studies in the field of prosperity, innovation and entrepreneurship as a Commonwealth Scholar. So, ma'am, now if you're okay, we can move forward with the question answers.
Sure.
Okay, ma'am. So the first question would be, could you share with us your experience of being a part of the Indian Navy?
I have spent around a decade in the Navy. So if I start sharing all my experiences, I think I can actually go on for hours because my 10 years have been really eventful and there have been multiple events that have happened. Professionally, I was a logistics officer. So I was looking after procurement and supply chain. So that is normally supply chain of machinery and spare parts or clothing, rationing, all this. Apart from that, there are a lot of other things that you get to do as a part of Indian Navy. There are various activities that you get to be a part of. So as you mentioned before, the highlights of my tenure were leading the naval marching contingent because that is a completely different feeling. Leading with the sword and marching on Rajpath, and then millions of people are watching you, and thousands of people even in person are there or in Delhi, on both sides of Rajpath cheering for you. So it is very different. So that, and sailing, of course, because we as a crew of six, like four male officers and two women officers, we sailed from Cape Town to Goa. So that was a 33-day expedition on board a 17-meter boat. So it was quite an adventure. And when we were crossing the equator, there is one equator crossing ceremony where you are supposed to jump into the Indian Ocean. So we jumped into the ocean when we were crossing the equator. So that was also pretty fascinating. And I don't think any other career would have given me these kinds of opportunities. So definitely these two would be the highlights of these 10 years.
So it's so joyful and great to hear that only. Okay. So moving on to the next question, what is the eligibility criteria for joining Indian Navy?
I think this is a very broad question because there are a lot of cadres and branches in the Indian Navy. Like there is executive, there is engineering, there is electrical. Like lawyers would join the Judge Advocate General branch. Then doctors would be in a different branch. So for every branch, they have a different eligibility criteria. And these can be seen on the official Navy website. So if you just go to Google and just type Join Indian Navy, you would get a website www.joinindiannavy.gov.in, and you just need to log on to that. They have mentioned all the branches and all the eligibility criteria, a summary of what work in that particular branch would look like, and from there you would get a fair idea. Like for logistics, which is my branch, which deals with supply chain, You would have BTech in any stream or MBA in any stream. Then you have you maybe a BSc with a PG diploma in some kind of, with some supply chain specialization. So there are a variety of criteria for every branch given separately. So I would basically request everybody to go to that site and then get the required information, because that gets updated and that is the official Navy site.
Okay, ma'am. Then moving on to the next question. What is the selection procedure in Indian Navy?
When I talk about myself, I basically joined through UES, which is the University Entry Scheme. So in my case, a team from the Indian Navy had come to our campus. So I was pursuing BTech, and this team came when we were in the 7th semester. So during your final year, basically they conduct group discussion and interviews at the campus, and then they shortlist you for SSB, which is the Service Selection Board. So the primary selection procedure for any of the three armed forces, Army, Navy or Air Force, is basically through SSB, which is the Service Selection Board. And this is a 5 to 6 day test where you have to go to one of the centers, Bhopal or Bangalore, Vishakhapatnam, Kolkata. These are the centers for Navy. So you would be called there. You have to be there for 5-6 days, and you can't get your parents or siblings along. You will be there with the other candidates, and you will be tested on psychology. You will be tested on aptitude. Interviews will be done. Physical tasks have to be carried out. So a lot of tests go on there. And on the final day, you will be told whether you are selected or not selected. So when you come back, you will know whether you have made it or not made it. And if you crack it, then you go through the medical test. So basically, they ensure that you're medically fit. So that is how the selection happens.
All right, ma'am. Thank you. The next question: what are the career opportunities in Navy?
Career opportunity wise, again, it differs from branch to branch. Like if you're talking about the higher possibility of going for higher studies once you join the Navy, or the kind of work that you do in the Navy, every branch again has got different programs. Like I, being a logistician, I am eligible to do, after putting in a certain number of years of service, I am eligible to do some long logistic management course, which is equivalent to an MBA. So that is something higher studies that I can pursue while I am in the Navy. Similarly, for engineering or electrical branch, they get to do MTech from premier institutes like IITs or NITs. After putting in some 6 to 7 years of experience, they are sent for MTech. So higher education thing is that. Once regarding the professional work, I think it is very diverse. You don't do one particular job. Every time you get a transfer, you would be at a new unit, and the kind of responsibilities or roles would change. So basically, it keeps changing. You keep learning something new in your field, as well as there is a lot of management and administration. So whether you are an engineering officer or a JAG officer or a doctor, everybody is doing some sort of management, and everybody has that kind of, you are expected to be a leader, no matter which branch you come from. So that part is there. And apart from all of this, I think there are the other activities like mountaineering or skydiving or skiing. So these courses keep coming up. So somebody who loves adventure, somebody who would like to learn something new like scuba diving also, you do get opportunities to go for these courses every once in a while. So that is also an added advantage.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Moving on to the next question: how did your family react when they came to know that you're moving on to the Indian Navy or joining Indian Navy?
So I basically come from a military background. My father was an officer in the Indian Army. So I have generally lived in camps, and I have also studied in some 8 different schools during my childhood, because we would shift every 2 to 3 years, 1 or 2 years, in fact, not 2 to 3. So I was pretty familiar with what life in military is. But military actually was not a very definite career path. I did not really fix it as a career path initially. It was only during BTech, when the US team came and then all of this happened, that I ended up in the Navy. And of course, I loved the uniform and the ranks, but it was not very predicted. If somebody would have asked me in class 10th or 11th, then you wouldn't have heard the reply that I want to become an officer, but it did happen eventually. And when I got through, I think everybody was extremely happy in my family. I'm the only child, I don't have any siblings. My father was extremely happy that I'll be donning the white uniform because he's from the army, so he dons the olive green uniform. So he was very happy that, okay, like my daughter is going to the Navy now.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, ma'am. The next question will be: other than appearing in JAG exams, what are the various ways we can take up to be a part of Army, Navy, or Air Force?
I would talk for Navy regarding this because I am not from the JAG branch, but I spoke to a couple of my friends, basically course juniors who are women officers in the JAG branch. So basically, the advertisement or notification for vacancies for JAG comes up. Even if you sign up on the site, the website, which is joinindiannavy.gov.in, you would see the notification. After that, you need to apply for it. There, the percentage cutoff would vary, that you can check on the website, but the basic eligibility criteria is a law degree from an institute that is recognized by the Bar Council of India. So that is it. After that, you have to go through that SSB. Basically, that service selection board needs to be cracked, which is a 5 to 6 day thing. So once that is cracked, then you can be absorbed in the Navy. And in the Navy, again, you will go through a number of trainings where they will acclimatize or maybe tell you more about the military law system and how things work in the military JAG branch. So there is, I think this is the Military Law Institute. It's in Delhi. It's a tri-services institute where people from Army, Navy, and Air Force, all of them undergo training. So that training happens and you undergo multiple courses. So that is how things work in JAG. And again, I would like to clarify that there are two kinds of commissions. There is SSC and there is PC. So there is a short service commission and there is a permanent commission. So in your notification, it would be written what kind of commission are they asking for. So if it is SSC, it means it is short service commission, which means your service would be for 10 years, extendable up to 14. And you do not get pension in short service commission. So this is, sometimes people ask me, how did you retire so early, or you're too young to retire? I was a short service commissioned officer. So, and PC is a different entry. For permanent commission, you are eligible to serve up till the age of 50, 52, 54, whatever, according to your rank at that particular, during the end phase of your career. And you are eligible for pension when you are PC. That is, you can't leave the Navy before you complete 20 years. You complete 20 years and then you would get the pension. So that is the difference between the two. So I think a lot of people are not aware when they join or when they apply. So according to your career aspirations, you should make a choice whether you want to go for SSC or PC. So that is also one of the things.
Okay, ma'am. Moving on to the next question. Ma'am, while introducing you in your bio, I came to know about that you are getting scholarship, Commonwealth Scholarship. If you could tell us more about that.
Actually, when I applied for the scholarship and the final list for all these scholarships came out. So basically, there are two scholarships by UK, the fully funded scholarships, two popular ones. There are a lot of other scholarships also. So one is the Chevening Scholarship and one is the Commonwealth Scholarship. So I would first talk about Chevening because a lot of lawyers that I know actually got the Chevening Scholarship. They went to, I think Queen Mary is one of the famous colleges in London for law. So I basically in my circle I know quite a few people who cracked the scholarship and went there. So this scholarship basically caters for your airfare, your tuition cost, your monthly stipend. So you really don't have to bother about anything. The only bottom line is that you have to return to your country once you have been there and you have studied. And even in your selection procedure, you have to state what would you achieve after you get back to India. Like, why should they sponsor your studies? So I see a lot of lawyers going in for gender studies or for technology law and all that kind of things. So a lot of lawyers did get this scholarship. The procedure is for Chevening, the procedure is that you need to write 4 essays. Basically, one is the leadership essay, one is your one essay is on leadership, one is on networking, one is on why you opted for those 3 courses and what are your future goals. So based on that, you are selected, and then your interview happens somewhere around March, April. and then your results are announced somewhere in June. So the applications for this particular scholarship they are already open. So I would urge all the people who want to pursue masters in UK or who would like to go to UK for masters to start applying right now itself, because the application it's open right now. For Commonwealth, it is a little different, because Commonwealth basically will fund your studies only when your study is aligned to one of the 6 developmental goals determined by the Commonwealth Secretariat. So mine is towards promoting global prosperity. So that is one of the 6 development goals. And my master's is in prosperity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So that is how it was aligned to one of the goals. Again, we have to write essays and interviews and everything happens. But in case of Commonwealth, you can't just opt for any masters. For achievement, what happens is you can opt for masters in any field. So I think that gives more freedom to lawyers, especially because they can pursue masters in law with respect to any field, any specialization. So that's about it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Moving on to the next question. What can a candidate expect from the basic training of Navy?
Basic training of Navy is extremely grilling. So once you report to the academy, there is a lot of physical strain on you, because they make you run kilometers. You will jump from 5 to 7, 10 meters of height. You would learn to swim. You will do boxing. There are a lot of activities that happen. And believe you me, when you join the academy, you would have never known your capabilities. I mean, it is after you pass out and after you do all of that, you actually end up surprising yourself that you were able to do so much. So basically, it pushes you to your extreme and it grills you. But once you pass out, you actually feel like a superhero. Also, most of us, I think none of us actually did any of these activities before joining the Navy. It so happens that when you are in the academy, when you are with your, other candidates, and then you struggle together, you achieve goals together, you end up doing things. So it is, yes, to somebody who's outside, like somebody, it might be, it might look very daunting to you, for instance, because I'm telling you right now that you have to jump and swim and do boxing. But once you are in the academy, I think the atmosphere itself is very good. So everybody supports each other, and people, we do get injured. There are people, you do have fractures, this, that, everything happens, but in the end of it, everybody does pass out. So everybody does accomplish that goal of completing the training.
Okay, ma'am. Moving on to the next question. What made you choose Navy over Army or Air Force?
I did not really have an option, because as I said, Navy, the team from Navy had come when I was doing my BTech. So basically, my first SSB was a naval SSB at Bhopal, and I cracked that. And after that, I did not apply to Army or Air Force. But I'm very happy that I joined the Navy, because otherwise I wouldn't have got that specific opportunity of sailing at least. And I absolutely love the white uniform.
Okay, ma'am. Moving on to the next question. How did you manage to cope up with being so far away from your family and your close ones?
So in all the 3 armed forces, I guess they have a very strong community bonding. What happens is, for the officer also, like as I mentioned earlier, during your training, you are with your course mates and you are going through all that grill, and you are facing all those tough circumstances together. So they only become like your family, because they've seen you through your worst. So for the officer herself or himself, these course mates become the family. And when we talk about the families of the officers, like when the officer is going on sailing or some kind of duty and the family stays back, so in area. Similarly, like all the sailors' families would reside together in a different area. So that is basically to encourage the community bonding between the families, so that they take care of each other when the officers are not there. So I think on both fronts, there is a lot of bonding, and it is not like other professions where you're only focusing on the professional part of the job. So they do consider the families also to be a part of the organization, and they do take care of the families.
All right, ma'am. Moving on to the next question. What are the qualification criteria for Navy? Again, the same question I know, but if you could just again say it.
I think for most of the cadres or branches, the qualification criteria is BTech, but BTech in which stream depends on your branch. Like, except for JAG, because for JAG it is law, and for doctors it would be MBBS. So for those, except for those two, I think for most of the branches they accept BTech entries, but BTech in particular fields. Like, there is one IT field, so they would only accept BTech from CS or IT. So that kind of a thing. Also, what I am talking about here is entry after graduation, and one is entry at 10+2 level. So that also happens when the cadets, basically, they join just after passing class 12th. So that is only for males right now. So they basically join just after class 12. That is again permanent commission entry. So that is different. So basically, I only spoke about the graduation part because I think a lot of our audience today is after graduation. I think they are aiming to join the forces. So that is why I am restricting my conversation to after graduation entries right now.
Okay, ma'am. Moving over to the next question. Why do you think people miss Navy after they retire?
I think the primary thing that we all miss is wearing the uniform, because it gives a tremendous sense of pride and honor. So yes, once we retire, the feeling of not being able to wear the uniform is pretty sad. So that is one. And second is, of course, the community that you live in, the kind of opportunities that you get. Organization is very closely bonded. So maybe finding that kind of organization again outside is sometimes a bit tough. So I think these are the two things, these are the two main parameters that I particularly miss. So these are the main factors. Other than that, there are a lot of other things, but I think these are the basic ones.
Thank you. Ma'am, the next question would be, ma'am, what do you think that, what about fitness? Does fitness play a main role in to be a member of the Navy or any Air Forces or be it Army? What is the role of fitness really?
So, what I feel is that fitness in general, this is my personal opinion, but I feel across ages and across all professions, whether you want to do social work and want to help people, or whether you want to join the defense, or whether you want to be in the corporate sector, I think each one of us should give health priority, and we should take care of our physical body, because if we don't do that, I think we'll not be able to contribute our 100% in irrespective of what field we are in. So picking up that one thing, you don't need to be an Iron Man or Iron Woman or run a marathon, but I think picking up that one activity, be it dancing, or be it running or swimming or cycling, any one activity, yoga, whatever suits you, I think once you start doing that, then stick to it, gradually increase it. It actually helps in focus and concentration also. So now coming to Navy, Air Force and Army, I think again, I was not from a very sporty background. I was not very much into sports. So I was basically, I am a Bharatanatyam dancer. I used to write and sing. So I was more creative and cultural. So when I joined the Navy, I was also very skeptical whether I will be able to do all of these things. But I think what is required is a basic level of fitness and basically the determination to push yourself. If you don't give up so easily. So once, then you start gradually building yourself, you start doing things. So there is a basic level of fitness. Like, even when you get the call letter from the Navy, it would mention some 1.5 to 2 kilometers or 2.5 kilometers of running, some 25 to 30 sit-ups for women, 25 to 30 sit-ups, some 100 meters of swimming. So if you can train yourself for all of that, then of course it is great, because you would be pushed further. So to prepare, I think that basic minimum is enough. and some level of fitness, and rest is already examined. Like after the SSB, you go through a medical test. So in case you're medically not fit, you will be told that you're not fit, then you would not join. So I am assuming that medical reason is not there. So here's we are talking about fit individuals. So I think just a primary basic level of fitness with some amount of determination and willpower will get you through the academy and life in Navy.
Okay, ma'am, thank you. There's one last question. If you want to give any tips to our young generation with regard to joining Indian Navy.
I would just like to say that a career in the Navy is very rewarding. You get to do a lot of things, and you are a leader right from the beginning. No matter which branch you join, I think you are a leader. And every time you get transferred, you learn new things, you get new opportunities. So that also keeps happening. But at the same time, I would also say that one should not just join by looking at the uniform or just looking at the glamorous part of service. What happens is normally only the glamorous part is advertised. You would only see the uniform, you would only see the free medical facilities, or you would only see the family getting good quarters or staying at great places and great social life. What people often don't see is, you really need to commit to the uniform, and your life will be somewhere revolving around the work you do. You may not be able to attend your sister's wedding. If there is some operational duty, you may not be able to do that. You can't go out of the municipal limits of where you stay without informing your boss. So it is service before self. So I think one should be prepared for that. Once you're joining the service, don't just look at the glamorous part. So there are other aspects to service that you need to abide by and that you need to respect. Then there is a certain sort of hierarchy in services which is not there outside, senior, junior. So you need to respect that. So there are certain things which are different from the outside world, but it is better to make an informed decision.
With this, I am done with all the questions which I had in stock. Let me just check that if any viewer has any question. No, there are no questions. Okay. Ma'am, your voice just cut. I didn't understand.
That I think just all the aspects in pretty much detail.
Okay, so now I think we can conclude the session when everything is over. You don't want to add anything, ma'am?
No. And I think all the questions covered everything, whatever you asked.
Okay, ma'am. Then with this, we have come to an end to the session. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been really great experience. And we learned a lot today. We came to know about many things we had no idea about, like the scholarship thing and many things actually. I can't point out one by one, but everything which you said today was totally new to everybody. Not only me, I think many people here didn't know about it. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again for joining us.
Right. Most welcome. Thank you.